can't stop it at this time. So
even at the expense of some friendship.
Yes. And powerful people interested in contesting from a different zone. He put his foot down, and as if all the parties came together to agree, all of the parties, the candidates are from Enugu East. So, and the governor has endorsed his party's candidate, that's Peter Mba. Now, what the Ohanese are saying is, yes, we are political, but we are not really die hard, we are not die in the wool obedient people. We will support a candidate that we believe will best serve our people. And they have sworn now that they, at the ward level, they are going to mobilize for the candidate of the governor, and that talking about the governorship, the presidential election, they are waiting for the governor to tell them where to go so that they can then mobilize their people across the 260 political wards in the state to support the governor's desires.
Bolaji, one thing I've noticed that it might not, the way the euphoria about the Labour Party, talking about the presidency, it might not be necessarily be the same thing in each of these states. Like this Enugu state is talking about now, for a long time, we know Enugu state to be the stronghold of the People's Democratic Party.
Yeah, you are very right. And to buttress what Judy said, you need to commend the governor before I go into that aspect of what you just said now, because it's just upholding a tradition that had been established over a period of time. We recall that Chimaroku Namani was from Enugu West also. No, Enugu East. Yeah, he was from Enugu East. Yeah, he was, yes. And when he was leaving, because of that rotational arrangement, his successor was Sullivan Chime from Enugu West. And when Chime was leaving, it was the turn of Gwanyi from Enugu North. So automatically, he was just following a tradition that had been established over the... Exactly. So we have to commend him because this thing has a way of helping the polity.
For stability.
Stability. And it gives equity and ensures peace in that community, in the state. Because we know that, look, after the turn of these people, it's going to do other people's turn. Unlike what happened in some other states. In Oyo State, for example, there's nothing like that. Iban takes over all the time. It's about all the time in Oyo State. But don't let us go into that because that's so for another day. Yes, and when you talk about Labour Party, yes, you hear so many things about Labour Party on the social media. It's always there. People are always obedient, this and that. Unfortunately, the reality is different. Osun State during the election, the Labour Party candidate didn't even come second. He didn't even come second.
Right honorable.
Yes, he didn't even come second. So you see, the party in the east is the PDP, with the ruled by the APC. Then Abga is also, So all this noise, it's just noise. The reality is clear, and that is the party is not really on the ground like that among the people. In fact, there was another Ghanaian that was being asked about the charges of Labour Party. He said, go and ask my people in Katsina.
It's the same Jidena.
Okay, it was go and ask my people.
Last week.
Yes. Which one is Labour Party?
Seriously.
Yeah, exactly. So that is it. The reality is quite different.
Into laughter.
You busted.
So, and that's the case. I started the example of Osun State now. The man didn't come second in that election, in spite of the whole all the noise about obedient being everywhere, and that, And even in Oyo State, I don't even know whether there's any candidate of a Labour Party in Oyo State.
That's what I want to ask. That okay, as for governorship level, do we have strong governorship candidates across the 36 states for this Labour Party?
Yeah, except for places where we have for Labour Party. I think the only major person that people kept talking about is Obi. No, that person. Nobody is even
They
talking
still
about.
have time, sir. So
They
that,
say, okay, so let's go back to this Enugu now, Jide. So when you now look at it, it's as if there was a time Ayogu Izie went to the All Progressive Congress, you know, it's as if no other party is in existence. Even, what's the Deputy Senate President, he molded the idea of moving to another party to achieve his governorship.
no, but you know what? It's this Deputy Senate President is somebody who weighs his actions before taking them.
You could imagine.
He is very calculative, and he doesn't rush into things. He knew that it may be
Counterproductive.
so. He just, despite the fact that he wanted to contest, and the governor said, "Look, the zoning arrangement does not favor you." Ultimately, like a good party man, he even congratulated the candidate of the PDP that emerged winner. They are not happy that they didn't get anything. I mean, he and his supporters. But they've stuck with the PDP. Whether it is the Deputy Senate, former Deputy Senate President or Toby, or his own political group, they stuck with the PDP because they know that in that place, that is the party to beat.
Sink or swim.
Yes.
People's Democratic Party.
Yes, you know, there are states like that. Don't even mention that party. And if you leave the political group, you will pay a heavy price. When I was saying it that Akpabio would not win the senatorial election, people thought, oh, maybe Jide does not like Akpabio. Anyway, I don't have to like an individual, and he too doesn't have to like me. It's the truth. And we all saw what happened in the end. He was defeated by Ekpeyong. Normally, Ekpeyong is not as popular as he is. But this is a political party that the people have been used to since 2099. They've never voted for another party. It will take a mighty effort. Remember during that rally, when the president went there to campaign and Akpabio stood on the podium and said, everybody in Akwa Ibom is now APC. I looked at him and said,
Common defector.
are you whining me? Are you whining me? You know, that kind of look that the Nigerian musician will give you. Say, are you okay? Are you okay? Everybody has become, you know that's not true. And
when the 2019
when the elections came,
the results.
clean sweep everywhere, clean sweep. You know, in his own senatorial zone, he won only one local government, and that's Esienudin, his home local government. They defeated him in the remaining local government. So this is the thing. The Ohaneze Ndigbo are also happy that the governor created the first University of Medical Sciences and Science. I mean, the first University of Medicine and Sciences.
There's one thing about this government.
In Igboane, yes, that's where it's on.
It seems to be
the first in the southeast.
A silent achiever.
No,
Ugwuanyi, you know, I don't know.
You hardly hear him talk.
You hardly hear him talk.
You won't grant interviews.
This interview, and it doesn't
Maybe we
cause
can
controversy.
blackmail him now. We can use this program to blackmail him to grant an interview.
It doesn't cause controversy at all.
Oh,
Do you know
that
what,
any controversy, you see Ugwuanyi's name there.
And you see, even in the southeast, you see that his state is the safest.
And
Very quiet.
Some of the
Silent
attacks
achiever.
that you hear about in other places, they are not happening.
even the father of Enugu politics, Jim Obodo, who hardly goes out to campaign for anybody, went to join me at the campaign podium to say that, look, this is a man of peace. I like what he's doing. And that's why I came out. You understand?
As the first governor in 1999.
Yeah, that's Jim Obodo. You know, and apart from that, he said, look, a very humble
He's the one who, it was Jim that installed Ebiano.
Yes.
He was a political godfather to
Of,
Ebiano before they now
Yes,
went their separate
Ebano
ways.
is now in the Senate now.
Yes.
And in the Senate.
Ebiano now gave birth politically to people like Sullivan Chime, the president governor. You know? Yes. They are all his boys.
Yeah. And that's why the man is able to even get the senatorial ticket again.
No, even without effort, they'll let him have it. He's their father.
And the other guy.
There's also a very good material. I've been following him.
Yeah.
All right. That the actual revenue of Nigeria in the first 4 months of 2022 was 51% short of the targets, while debt servicing exceeded revenue by 19%, shows that we are in a financial mess as a country. But is more borrowing the answer? Data from the Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN, show that borrowing by the federal and state governments from commercial banks increased by 11% from 18.04 trillion naira in June to 20.1 trillion naira in July 2022. The data titled Money and Credit Statistics also shows that total credits of domestic economic rose by 6.0% from 5.5 trillion naira in June to 59.9 trillion naira in the okay. That's in the same month. Julie, I don't like figures, but what I've read out now is telling me that all is not well.
There are people who continue to encourage us to continue borrowing. They want to see
That
us.
we can borrow to build infrastructure.
Yes, they want to see us borrow and borrow until we borrow ourselves out of existence. All loans have repercussions. You must pay back your loans. And sometimes at a huge cost. Interest, both interest and the principal must be paid. So when people talk about taking loans without looking at our capacity to repay, I think the fact that the finance minister laid before us some weeks back should nudge those who are always encouraging us that there's nothing wrong in borrowing for infrastructure and all that. No one is saying that you should not borrow, but there has to be a cap. Borrowing has to be tied to capacity to repay. If your capacity to generate revenue cannot match your appetite for borrowing, then something is wrong. You don't need any economist to tell you. I mean, you stop deceiving people that, oh, there's nothing wrong as long as it's tied to infrastructure. Of course, it's a good thing to tie borrowing to infrastructure, but you can't continue to borrow as if there's no tomorrow.
Borrow yourself out of.
Now, we are in a situation in which, for the last quarter, debt servicing exceeded revenue. What does that tell you? That means we are getting to that point when it is not going to be sustainable to continue to borrow at the rate we are going. If debt servicing
with more money.
Yes, what you are using to service debt is higher than what you generated over the same period. Is it not from your revenue that you are going to pay back? Are we going to ultimately take loans to pay debts? Whoever leads himself into that kind of situation knows that he has pushed himself into a ditch. So all of these things, when you look at even borrowing from my own concern, my biggest concern is what we call ways and means. Taking money from CBN, borrowing money from CBN to pay salaries and other things. We are trying to address our fiscal deficits by taking money from the CBN.
In short,
the World Bank has warned us
to address recurrent expenditure.
Yes, the
Salary
thing to do is try to trim your recurrent expenditure profile, trim it to the level that you can manage. But the present crop of leaders in our country, the ruling class, they are not prepared to trim their expenditure. I was talking about a country like Senegal, where the president felt that they didn't need 2
legislative
yes, legislative houses and decided to scrap the Senate.
Unicameral
Yes,
legislature.
they reverted to unicameral. So if you can trim your expenditure, reduce the areas of waste, and boost your capacity to generate revenue, that will help us. But revenue remains stagnant. We are not addressing that. We think that the solution is to continue to borrow from the CBN, to continue to borrow from creditors all over the globe. Look at, in 2015, total borrowing by the federal government from the CBN was 648 billion, 648.26 billion. Today, it has risen to 19.26 trillion. Let me say it again. From 648.26 billion in 2015, the total debt of the federal government to the CBN now stands at 19.26 trillion. Look at the difference. And it's projected by before the end of this year, because this one terminated last June, that it will reach 22 trillion. We've got to do something about borrowing, as if there are no repercussions. The cost of servicing your debt will ensure that even you cannot even do fresh infrastructure. You can't. Other areas of the economy will suffer as a result of huge financial outlay for the purpose of servicing debt. People have to look at that. And now, if debt servicing eventually outstrips revenue, what do we then do? Where do we go? That means we are on a cliff. Just any little thing can just push us into the valley.
But I don't know. We have people that are in charge of our economics, the way things are going, and we have people they call experts, and over time, we watch this economy go this bad, and it was shrinking till we get to this extent. I don't know. When I see names and I see experts, I begin to ask, who is in charge of our economy? Well, how did we get here?
Well, we have a major problem in this country. Well, you see, I still want to say something about this present administration. Yes, they are borrowing. But you see, at least to some extent, we are seeing some of the things they are doing with related to their borrowing. I'm not saying there are no places where we have openings, where people are, taking part of this thing. It is there. But you see certain things that they are doing with the money. Unfortunately, you should ask ourselves, why do we have the problem that Jide looked at now? That is the stagnation in our revenue. And where are we getting the revenue actually? Is it not from oil? Now, oil revenue has dropped drastically because of oil bunkering, this and that, In fact, what I learned was that we were losing about 500,000 barrels per day, And who was the guy
coming to lift our oil there?
Exactly. Oil bunkering all over the place, and as a result, we are having
in cahoots with some people inside.
So the thing is, first of all, we need to block that loophole where this money is being lost in terms of revenue. That is oil revenue that's coming in. We need to block that loophole. And recently the government renewed the contract of Tompolo, who is supposed to be guiding the pipeline in Niger Delta, and hopefully we are going to be able to block this loophole, because if that 500,000 barrels per day is blocked, that loose area is blocked. Definitely, it's going to be part of the number of barrels that we are pushing out, in a day, and that's more revenue for the country. But as I said earlier, the government, people will argue with you that borrowing money is not a problem. Because when you borrow money, it's about expanding your economy. But how do you apply that money you are borrowing? Where does it go into? Is it clear to people that this money is being applied judiciously to where it's supposed to be applied to? Do we always have that? So many instances of, I'm sure we're still going to talk about it, all these scandals about people pilfering the national money, the loopholes that we are having. You know, grass cutting and so amount of money. You know, these are loopholes that should be blocked.
I think that if the CBN will operate like a truly independent institution, they can guide against some of the things that the political class, some of the spendings that they are bringing upon the rest of us. But I do not see that evidence of independence. For example, the CBN Act says that what government is borrowing, there's nothing wrong about borrowing from the CBN. No, the law permits it. But the law says, that's the CBN Act says that your borrowing from the CBN should not exceed 5% of total revenue of the previous year. We saw that in 2020, it was 80% of the revenue of 2019 that we actually borrowed from the CBN.
More than 5%.
So the CBN Act is even being violated. And there's a CBN governor who permits that to happen. So politicians may say, we need this, we need that, we need that. But you have to find a way to apply the brakes. That's why politicians, for example, will never like an Okonjo-Iweala. But you also need a president, as a CBN governor, you also need a president who will back your reform and allow your reform to take hold.
Now,
otherwise,
if the president understands what you are talking about, financially, if he understands what you are talking about, because if he doesn't understand what you are talking about, there's no amount of reforms you are going to present to him that will pass anywhere.
Apart from the oil sector now, it's becoming increasingly difficult to get money from other sectors. They pushed the custom, the revenue,
where the
done everything.
Where the economy is contracting, you need mighty effort to even get sufficient money by way of taxation, because you are going to tax people based on the profits that they are making.
Okay.
Business is very bad at this time, so there's no way that even taxation will not go down. Money from taxation.
Okay, let me pick this call. Kennedy is calling us from Enugu. Thank you for joining us, Kennedy.
Good afternoon, Ayo and Jide.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Also have Bolaji in the studio.
Yeah, we are enjoying your program, guys. I'm proud of what you guys are doing. You should keep it up.
Thank you.
Yeah, please, based on what we are discussing on, based on our economy, I think this government, I can't really understand. I can't really understand their system of operation, because if Nigeria being a country that wants to help itself, this man in charge of our central bank not supposed to be in the office by now, even the finance minister. Because there's no policy we are seeing in sight how they are trying to reduce all this high inflation of things here. Things are going haywire. Like Nigeria seems to be like in a country that is an autopilot. You see, like when people start talking of like being on a failed state, I don't know any other qualification to use for us to get there. Is it when people start falling on the street to die? Because a lot of things, there are some people in this country now that who can't feed twice in a day because of high cost of things. Please, this government should rise up, wake up to their responsibilities. God bless you. Thank you so much, guys.
Thank you for your contribution. So we're talking about non-oil remittance. Revenue.
Yes, that is an area where we should concentrate on. I'm impressed with what the three chairs of government shared last week. Okay. Almost 1 trillion. I think about 950 billion or so. It's not all the time that they share that kind of money. I've seen them share something in the region of 300 billion. You know, so if they can share 950 billion, that means that some sectors have done very well. We have so many revenue generating agencies, more than 60 of them. They all have to work hard. But the areas through which the resources are leaking are too many. if they do a thorough probe of a lot of these revenue generating agencies, you will see that some Nigerians have turned themselves to billionaires out of the rest of us. The people have turned themselves to rent seekers in our country. We are not addressing this issue enough. There are many people who should be within the tax net who are not paying taxes.
Yes.
And people have found a way. Yes. In some countries of the world, they rely heavily on taxes.
Yes.
And if you go against it, the punishment is greater than committing manslaughter. You see? But in our own case, there are people who cut corners, they will bribe.
People are not even interested in
People are
paying tax.
making money,
but
they
they
pay
making money.
money. They are
They don't
doing
want to pay.
business.
They don't want to pay taxes. They don't want to pay taxes. They call tax officials, bribe them, and get a tax tax certificate. Whereas they didn't pay enough. You can pay, but if you are not paying enough, you are cheating your country. That's economic sabotage, and a lot of Nigerians are doing. Even foreigners, come and see some of the big foreign companies that have come into our country. Some of them are being investigated now. You will discover that a lot of them are owing us a lot of money by way of tax remittances. And they get by.
A lot of these multinationals,
corrupt officials,
under-declaring their profits.
Just so that they will not pay enough.
Even the worst part of it is among our people. You see, I recall that if you want to contest for any position, any election, when you are aspiring for any position, under a political party, they ask you to bring your tax clearance certificate. What people do is they just go to all these tax agencies and just give them money. They issue those things to them.
They issue it.
Really?
Oh, that's what they do.
Without records?
No, what is record? They just issue to them. The local government could issue their own. Even the state will issue. Just pay salary amount of money. You don't know where that money is even going to. It's rather unfortunate. Because if all these are the things you are talking about.
We don't have revenue. We're going to have revenue.
That's a big loophole.
We're going to have revenue when people are refusing to pay. And they can't do that abroad, though. Some of them
there are people that are supposed to be investigating.
Yeah.
They don't go. They go abroad. But here they will not want to pay. In their own country, they don't want to pay. But if they go abroad, they will pay everything, knowing that they will go to jail. They don't pay. No matter how big somebody is, the biggest offense you can commit against the state is to not pay your tax. That means you are not a patriot.
Yes.
They hold it. Yes, you can't try it.
Britain, Italy.
The other day I was reading about this musician that married the Barcelona defender, Shakira, the one that Rigusa waste. Shakira, they are investigating her for tax evasion. They don't joke with it. You make good money, you must pay good taxes. That's the culture that we should entrench here, because it can really bail us out of all the mess that we find ourselves.
All right. As a country, Nigeria is never far from bizarre and shocking stories. Stories of snakes swallowing money, millions of naira expended on cutting of grasses and termite eating payment vouchers, and just a few examples. Another grass cutting scandal has broken out. The House of Representatives Committee on Public Accounts disclosed that it has begun investigating the Ministry of Agriculture over the award of contracts of about 18.9 billion naira to firms during COVID-19 lockdown. At the investigative hearing, Chairman of the committee, Wale Oke, said the contracts were awarded to the companies for bush clearing, land preparation, and rehabilitation of soil and plant laboratories. During COVID-19, these contracts were awarded, and 18.9 billion naira. As financially down as this country is today, we still have people, Minister of Agriculture.
Yes, you blame them. They see these kind of things happen without consequences.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's a common feature in NDDC.
Those ones,
NNPC.
during the COVID, they even distributed money to themselves as if they were the poorest of the poor. The poorest of the poor were
collected their own palliative.
They gave themselves palliative. And they claimed that they awarded executed contracts at the peak of the lockdown, when people were inside their homes. And they got away. They were indicted by the Senate, but nothing happened. The Senate released his findings, nothing happened. They even recommended that the NDDC itself should revert to supervision by the office of the president, not under a minister. That was the recommendation of the Senate, one of the recommendations.
But that has not changed.
Nobody, no, the executive didn't, I don't think the executive even bothered to look at their findings. That's why you find sometimes someone like Ndume expressing anger. That we've tried to support the executive. But the executive will come up with our findings, will come up with resolutions. Those resolutions go unaddressed. So this is the thing. If you have a situation in which these things happened and nobody appeared to bother about it, no consequences, nobody jailed, nobody even convicted, nobody punished, these things will continue. I've seen the response of the ministry to the allegation. One of the first things the ministry said was there was no audit query to even warrant the invitation by the House in the first place. The House, in exercising, in playing its role of oversight, does not have to issue an audit query. It can summon you to say, look, come and explain certain things. And you must answer their summon. The law permits them to do that. So now they are saying, oh, it is not true. It's actually 2.5 billion that we spent, you know. Perhaps a proper investigation will yield the truth to everyone. They are saying, look, they even executed some road projects in 6 states out of that money. They found a way to explain what happened. They are saying it's not up to 18 billion, that is actually 2.5 billion. So it's up to the House of Reps to do further investigation. But my concern is some of these things, we've seen the House and the Senate make so much noise about investigation and nothing will come out of it. Oh. Nothing. Sometimes they don't even conclude their own investigation. You understand? I see somebody phone them to say, stop yes. where you are.
Off the mic.
Off the mic.
Huh? You can imagine starting your investigation and not concluding
and nothing will come out of it.
What do you take us for? We started following you. We started following you. We wanted to see the end of the
outcome.
But you just stop the investigation. You won't even get back to us.
Let me tell you something about government too. You see, the other day it was the Accountant General that was said to have been guilty of about 109 billion naira. You know what is he doing now? They want to do negotiation. Someone stole money. He wants to negotiate.
Allegedly.
Allegedly. Allegedly stole money. Sorry, allegedly, and he wants to negotiate. He returns a certain amount of money. But you see something about governance and government is this, with my little experience. When you are saying someone took this amount of money, it is not. You see, it goes around.
It's not the only one.
It's not the only one. But it's only the scapegoat. It's the only one. Is the front person that they brought out. So those people that are part of it, look, I mean, this problem, you are part of, those are the people that will not be putting pressure.
Yes.
Lawmakers, please stop this thing, off the mic, all those things. That is the situation in the country.
The ring.
Yeah, it is. No, the demand is not
possible for that person to just
he can't take 109 billion alone.
109 billion.
No,
he can't. He can't. There are so many people that are involved. But those are the people that will not be putting pressure. That thing cannot continue. Okay.
They will assure him now that don't worry.
Don't worry yourself.
Talk to somebody in the presidency.
Yes.
Big people.
Because big people, God bless you. Because they are. It goes across.
Some people will go down with him.
Of course. If you pull the...
Okay. We have Ade from London. Thank you for joining us, Ade.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon, how are you?
Good afternoon, Ade.
My brother, the editor. And good afternoon to Kabiyesi, Prince Babajide.
Thank you, sir.
My contribution to this matter is this. You see, corruption in my country, Nigeria, It has become industry now. You see, I know that's not listening to you. God is listening to you. God is watching you. Because this corruption is destroying Nigeria in all ways. Nigeria has said something very important, which is the truth he said. Because I'm aware of that. That people don't want to pay tax, they will say to them. 2 years ago, someone came from Nigeria, my friend, he worked in the office. He told me exactly what Babajide said, that they would negotiate and come with a bad cash and pay maybe 1%. So corruption has spoiled our country. Look at recently, about 5 governors or 4 governors were here in a hotel in Park Lane there. A lot of money spent, nothing, for nothing. And by sideway, they will see their doctor. As if there is no place to do meeting in Nigeria. So nobody is checking there. Our president just relaxing. He has told us the job is tough for him. That is what is happening. Nobody can try this under Baba Yabo. Nobody. But
thank you. Thank you, Ade. So, as we were saying, that is not possible.
No,
it's
not.
There are layers to this thing.
Look, let me tell you about this issue of corruption. I'm not sure we are ready to tackle corruption in this country because it is so endemic. I don't even want to compare any administration. I don't want to go to where Jonathan administration or Buhari or any. No, it's so endemic, it's so pervasive in this country that we need a shock treatment. We can't continue like this because if you continue like this, the country is just good.
No, they will bring the country down.
I think we've discussed it informally before now that this particular case, the Accountant General case, that there's more to it that we can see. No, that it's not just an ordinary case.
You know, we have to bear in mind that it takes two to tango. The quantum of money that we are talking about, there's no way an individual can take it.
No. Generation.
No.
Civil servants will help you.
They will teach you.
You know, where you can even make mistakes, they will be the ones to tell you. When it comes to procedures, processes, they are the masters of it. They will tell you how you can go about it. When you appear to run into a logjam, they are the ones who will tell you what to do to get out of that mess. You know, they've been in the system for so long.
Let me tell you something.
To cover it.
To buttress you, Jide. You see, I was in government for a while. You see, when you want to do any memo, I have an idea of what I want, but I'm not the one that will write it out. It's a civil servant that will write the thing out for me. He knows the language to use. He knows what he's going to quote. There's a section that he will quote. You know, I will now look at it. Okay, if you don't quote the appropriate section, because everything is under one section or the other. If you don't quote the appropriate one, they will return it to you. So it's the civil servant that will write all those things out for you. You write the memo, putting the appropriate order this, so this and that. Then you look at it. Okay, does it cover what I want to? Okay, you sign it. They are the one that will teach you all those things. So when
they can send you to jail.
Oh, they can.
If you don't read their memos thoroughly.
If you don't read,
before giving your approval.
I know of one former secretary to the state government. That man, he said he will not append his name to any of the memos that are coming. He will just tell one of anything that is going to the council. The council is where the governors meet with the commissioner and all those things, or ESCO. He will give these people, oh yeah, look at it. Since I know they chop from this thing now. Why I go come put my signature? He won't. He just tell the civil servant, oh yeah, you can sign it. I will present it. But today, the guy is living freely. He don't get money. He doesn't have money. Sorry, but the fact is that nobody's going anywhere.
They call him Juma. Just a Juma, useless man.
That's a useless man. Useless man.
Yeah, nobody's troubling him. He's sleeping soundly.
Somebody even told me that a soldier threatened to shoot a contractor.
How?
He said, "You're useless. I don't want to. If you get close to me, I'll shoot you." He doesn't give bribe. He was not prepared to give the man bribe. I don't know how we've made corruption
the culture of Roger.
A culture that is so ingrained in us, as if it has come to stay.
No, it has come to stay.
I mean, it's like the corruption is an unwanted visitor. We should treat it as an unwanted visitor. Somebody comes into your house. If it's unwanted, you are standing right at the door with him because you want him to go out the next minute. That's the way we should treat corruption. You know when you don't want to see someone, You are holding the curtain, your door curtain. That person is still at your door. You say, okay, whom do we want to see? Okay, that person is not at home. Can you go back? You know? But if you want the person to come in, you will say, oh, come in, come in, come in. You even give him a seat. Corruption is not what we should give a seat. We should stand at the door.
We have built house for corruption.
It.
There's a house for corruption in Nigeria now.
Oh, not even seats.
Not seats. House.
All right. When it takes a stranger to point it out to the owner of the house that it is on fire, then something is amiss. The European Union, EU, has described the rising number of out-of-school children in Nigeria's northwest as alarming. The head of the European Union delegation to Nigeria and ECOWAS, Samuel Lapsopi, who warned that it could trigger insecurity in the region, said human capital development is the surest way to ending insecurity in the country. Meanwhile, the Chief of Defense Staff, General Lucky Irabor, said 137 out of about 261 border areas in the northeast and northwest regions of the country are unguarded. Hence, terrorists from neighboring countries move into Nigeria to cause mayhem. Jide, we said this, that the concept of Amajiri, we said this, the concept of out-of-school children, that, you know, that has been in existence for several years. Those are the people turning out to be our bandits today. And the way they are joining these foreign bandits, the way they are recruiting them, even for Boko Haram and everything, willing to, so that poverty is just at the root cause of this thing.
Well, as someone who has lived in the north for many years, the Almajiri system is not, in the real sense, the enabler of banditry. There are many big people in Nigeria today who are Almajiris. Yes, some clerics may have abused the Almajiri system, but the Almajiri system is not bad in itself.
The concepts.
The concept is not bad in itself. The late Metamasule told me that he actually did his own Almajiri in Niger Republic. Yes. So, but the UNICEF man is talking about out-of-school children. There are many reasons leading to more and more out-of-school children in our country. There are many parents who cannot pay school fees. There are many parents who cannot pay WAEC and NECO fees and have to be relied upon, have to rely on other people to help them pay. The attack on bandits, attack by bandits on schools, is causing many parents
making it
to
like
reconsider sending their children to
school at all.
Especially those of them living in distant places. In the city centers, in the urban areas, it's not so much of a problem. But a lot of the schools in the hinterland have closed. And you can't tell me that all of the children of those schools in the hinterland have been absorbed into the school system in the urban centers. No. It's just not possible to absorb everybody. Some of them are roaming around
nothing.
Because
those are the dangers
of the attacks. Look at during in the year 2021, there were 25 attacks on schools in that area in the north west. 144 children were abducted, 16 of them killed.
It was so rampant.
Now, more than 618 schools closed. When they shut these schools, a good number of those children will not be anywhere else. There's also the problem of parents able to send children to primary school, But the transition from primary school to secondary school will not happen because it will end there. We've seen even some of our old friends have told us about their parents, their father being polygamist, who decide that, okay, every year, this is the children of this person that will go to school.
Rotate it.
You know? So there are all kinds of problems. When there are constant attacks on schools, even Ilekeu, these places where they train children on Quranic education, some of them have been attacked. In Tegina, children as young as 4 years were taken away. Some of them died in the forest. So how would people feel comfortable? That's why I'm not surprised that it is Northwest that they are concerned about, because the attacks on schools in the Northwest in the last 2 years have been too much. Too much. And what this does is it discourages parents. Some of them, you are even begging them to send children to school. They are now hearing that they could lose their children to bandits in the process.
So you have them come and pay 100 million naira to release.
And they'll come and
you sell your house, you sell everything because your children want to.
Which house are they going to sell? The huts or
the people who don't have anything. They will just suffer for nothing. There was a senator who had to pay. He had to pay for ransom on behalf of some people. Because there is no way they will pay. They've not got the money to pay. These people will just suffer them for nothing. So it is the kind of worrisome situation that we find ourselves in the North West especially. And when he's talking about borders, okay, borders in Borno North, in Borno North, for example, we share boundary with Chad, with Cameroon, with Niger Republic in Borno State alone, sharing border with 3 countries. A lot of those borders are unmanned. Who, for example, will go and man some of the borders in the areas where Boko Haram attacks are prevalent? How do you want to do it? You put custom people there or immigration? They'll be wasted. Even in the Northwest, Sokoto and some of these areas, I've read reports of customs men and immigration men being kidnapped by bandits. So once they are kidnapped from their duty posts, who will man those places? And this is through these border posts that weapons, illicit weapons, are coming in. Those weapons merchants in Niger Republic, they are so desperate that even through the waterways, you know, River Niger is in Kebbi State, they are bringing weapons even through River Niger into our country. Unfortunately for us, we share, more states share border with a semi-failed state like Niger Republic than any other country around us. No less than 6 states. From the Northwest, the extreme end in Kebbi, right up to Yobe, we are sharing border with Niger Republic. And these people bring in weapons. Some of them all the way from Chad. They bring in weapons. No one is stopping them. So how won't insecurity get worse? I think when they have access to weapons.
Bolaji, I think from time, we've never really paid attention to manning this unmanned border from time. So now we are now seeing the disadvantage, and we're now seeing the problem that could stem out of those unmanned borders.
Well, Nigeria is a very, very big country. Where do you want to really man? How many people can you deploy to man the extensive border that we have?
If U.S. is thinking of manning their border against Mexico, building wall around it,
that's just a segment.
I'm sure if you look at that stretch,
you can't compare Nigeria with U.S. But the bottom line is the insurgencies that are coming in for all these borders. It's very unfortunate. And
it's not costing us. That's the problem now.
Yeah, it's causing a lot of problems. And we also have people that are now ready recruitment for all these people, all these out-of-school children. You know, like I was reading, as at 2013, we had about 10.5 million out-of-school children. About a few years after the attack started, you know, we had about 12. Presently, today is about 18 point something millions out of school children. Majority of which are from the north.
18.5.
Yeah, 18.5. And then young girls. You see, it's about the country itself. We are not using the right people. We have people in the north that understand this thing, that know that education is a very good thing. You know, but they are not using them. I was reading about this man, former chief of staff, former interior minister, Dan Bazao. Very, very knowledgeable man. He had a PhD. Who is using this man today? Who is talking about? These are people that we should. That kind of person should be a panel fixture in our security in Nigeria. You shouldn't allow that man now to even live as security architecture. Someone like exactly.
He watches journalists Hangout religiously.
Oh, really? I've never even met him. But I've read about him.
I saw him in Imo State, and he saw me. He called me. I said, don't miss your program.
The man has a PhD. That's his man that has.
He's a fantastic writer too.
But he's a lecturer. From what I read about it, he's a lecturer for some of these foreign universities and all those things. Why are we not using people like this for our security? You see, that's a person that should be I'll have a committee on security. We are giving you this mandate. Do something about the problem we are having. I think the problem is because we are not ready to tackle some of these problems. We are not just ready. When we are ready to tackle, the solutions are there. It's not as if people are not, they don't have the solutions.
It's the application that is the problem.
Exactly, it's the application. So why not
that we don't have people?
Still talking about this on Monday, and when you look at it, you are talking about 261 here, but I'm sure when they take stock of...
There are unofficial borders. There are official, he's talking about official borders. Even the Boko Haram terrorists and other people, you don't expect them to use the official borders, except in places where they know they can easily overwhelm the security forces that you put on ground. Maybe some parts of Borno North, you know, where they don't really care. The Tumbus of Lake Chad, they see themselves as strong in those areas. Don't come near us, you know. So, but they will use the unofficial borders largely. There's some of these communities are so close to Nigeria that there is even no distinct mark to show that you have crossed into another country.
It's blood.
You know?
Borderline.
Yes, the lines are blood. You know, very tenuous. You know, so you just find that you are in another country.
Let me quickly. Fidel is calling us from Owerri, in Imo State.
Yeah, good afternoon.
Yes, good afternoon, Fidel.
My name is Chief Fidel Onyeneke. And I want to say that the issue of Enugu and zoning, honestly speaking, almost all the states should emulate that. Because if you have that zoning, there wouldn't be this political bickering. There wouldn't be all this problem of marginalization and so on. People will know where their next governor or where their next leaders will come from. And there will be smoothness in the polity. It is very, very important for all the states to come out with that, have that equity, you know, zoning formula. Then, about the issue of borders, we need to get it right by ensuring that our security agencies, including immigration, customs, that they take firm decisions on ensuring that influx of people is highly restricted. A situation where we have borders and we allow them to be porous, people come in, import arms and other things, and everybody will be complaining of insecurity. If we are not courageous enough, we cannot check the SSTs of all these people who import some of these things. Yeah, God bless you. I'm Fidel Onyeneke.
Thank you. Thank you. Now, so at least they were able to achieve what you said was that most political parties in Enugu State, all the political parties, they decided that shows how popular that particular strategy. That shows how popular that everybody can decide to go in that direction.
If you go against you won't win.
Yeah.
So everybody is towing that line. It makes sense. We have to commend the governor for standing firm.
Now, it's apparently we are under-policed. Our military to the ratio of the Nigerian population and everything. Now, I think we need more hands around our border.
When you look at how extensive, look at our border with Niger Republic, it can't be less than 800 kilometers. Our land border with Niger. It can't be less than
800 kilometers.
Yes, it can't be less than 800 kilometers. Because we are talking about no less than 6 states. You know? No less than 6, I think 6 or 7 states. So Katsina, Jigawa, Kebbi in the northwest, and we still have Yobe, we have Borno. About 6 or 7, even Sokoto. Yes, Sokoto too.
And close to this border, we have town, we have people staying around there.
Yes,
they don't have the presence of government at all.
Of course, because some of them are in very remote communities. You know, so we cannot physically man even all our official borders. That's why he's suggesting that we should use technology. That technology can help us manning those areas. There is nothing stopping us from using unmanned area vehicles. You know, UAVs. Those UAVs patrolling the border area when they sense any dangerous incursion into our territory, they can then trigger an alarm system that will ensure that we get our troops ready to go and deal with the situation. And there are drones these days that can even be airborne for a whole month. Yes. These days they do solar power drones. So countries keen on protecting themselves are coming up with technology that will help them. So if you have solar power drones, for example, and they can be airborne for so long, the cost of even maintaining them, you know, it will be minimal. Yeah. So, but if you put the conventional aircraft, the cost of aviation fuel alone will make you to stop after maybe 1 or 2 days. You see that it's not sustainable. So, we have to keep investing in technology to patrol our borders.
The last thing,
yes, I quite agree. Technology is the thing for anybody that is desirous of making any change. It doesn't even have to be the border. Anything you want to do, the technology is just there for you. If you don't have to put people there because it's so. Do you want to build a wall? How many kilometers do you want to build a wall? Have the unmanned area thing there, you know, and then drone. Or for example, if you look at where you are sure that there is a whole lot of people, influx of people into your country, you can focus on that area. That look, this is where we are. Okay, it's the Niger Republic. Okay. This is the border, this area that this is coming from. Then let us have a drone there that would monitor, and then you have standby people that will just go and intercept if there's any movement like that. But you see, the problem of this country is such that I don't even know whether that one is even I think it's the least of their consideration. But if they don't tackle this problem, we are not ready to tackle the issue of insurgency in the country, because these are the avenues where the harms, where even the people that are causing this problem are coming from. And if we don't stop it, there's no way we are going to.
All of them are foreigners.
Exactly.
Malians,
exactly.
Nigerians.
So you need to stop that. Yes, before you can really tackle the insurgency in the country.
All right. It's the end of the first half of Journalist Hangout on Sunday. Join us on the second half. We're taking you to Kano politics and celebrating Segun Odegbami at 70. You don't want to miss that.
This Sunday, she has lived all her life in the United Kingdom. 14-year-old Oluwashikemi Ajibade's parents sent her on vacation to Lagos, where she was enrolled into a school for a term.
If they're in school and they don't have food to eat, but I have like money on me or food to share, I would happily share it with them.
With the 4 months over, the Briton has become a better person with new talents and skills.
I love going to church. I love being in the choir. I love gospel music as well.
Oluwashikemi Ajibade tells her story of talent discovery in Nigeria to Ola Wakon. That's on Sunday Specials, where great stories live.
It's always a great morning on the TVC Breakfast Show.
Thanks for joining us on TVC Breakfast.
With the array of stories that matter and what's behind them.
As you say, the first blow indicates the direction of government.
Tell us what really is going on between your union and the federal government.
Once it's generated, he has
If
to
you don't use it, it's waste. We are not even sure whether we have a strategy for security.
Are you saying that there was nothing wrong in that?
Was he the one driving the taxi?
Answer the question.
Reveal your morning with all you need to know.
Like the
Yes, just mundane lyrics.
Yes.
How does that fit into your scheme of events or duties right now?
No chief of staff, no general has the right to call a governor to order. The governor has been elected by his people.
Start your day right, because this is the breakfast show that adds to your breakfast. TVC Breakfast, weekdays at 7 a.m. only on TVC News.
Monkeypox is caused by a virus of same name that is closely related to now eradicated smallpox. The likely symptoms of monkeypox are fever, headache, muscle aches, back pain, low energy, rash, swollen lymph nodes, among others. How does the monkeypox virus get spread? You can get the virus through close contact with an infected person and also through physical contact with an infected animal. To get monkeypox treatment, you need to see a physician. Here are the steps to protect yourself from monkeypox virus. Step 1. Avoid close contact with suspected or confirmed monkeypox cases. Step 2. Avoid physical touch with animals who could be infected. Step 3. Frequently clean and disinfect environments that could have been contaminated. We all need to join hands together to protect ourselves from this virus. This campaign is brought to you by TVC Community.
Welcome back. This is Journalist Hangout on Sunday. This is the second half. Just when we thought that two sworn political rivals of Kano politics have buried the hatchets to forge a pact, the bubble has burst for them. Former Kano State Governor, Senator Ibrahim Shekarau, has made some outbursts signaling the collapse of his romance with the new Nigerian People's Party, NNPP. After just 2 months, Senator Shekarau blamed injustice as the reason for his leaving the NNPP, led by his predecessor and successor in office in the state, Senator Rabiu Musa Kwakwanso. Jide, we didn't see these two guys working together, and I have a problem with NNPP. This is a party that is just, meant to be gathering momentum ahead of the 2023 election, making more inroads. They had a breakdown of talks with Peter Obi. From that Peter Obi, we thought in terms of another big week they gained was this Senator Shekarau. So just a few months after, what's happening?
Well, I knew that they could never work together. I'd said it repeatedly. And where two guys see themselves as political enemies and distrust one another,
no matter how,
to begin to
form a new relationship and alliance,
to begin to give, to begin to concede political ground to someone that you've always seen as a dangerous rival is something inconceivable. The point that I'm making is,
it was surprising that they had to come together.
I never saw their coming together coming. But I think Shekarau did not know what to do. He didn't want to stay in the APC because he felt he was being frozen out by the governor. And they had taken the governor to court. Usually when you go to court, by the time you exhaust
everything,
and victory goes to the opponent.
So there's nothing.
The opponent begins to feel, yes, now that I have the victory, this is the time to crush you. That was the scenario that Shekarau had to face in the APC. So he felt that his future was no longer in the APC. Then, where do you then go? When people asked me, I said his best bet was to go to the PDP. I said it at that time. But he made a political miscalculation by not going to the PDP at that time because Kwankwaso was begging him. The moment the governor went to see Shekarau at home, Kwankwaso began begging him to say, look, forget it, whatever you have against me, forget it. I want you to be on our side, this and that. Somehow, Shekarau was swayed and went to join his political enemy. Because that's who they are, except they want to deceive themselves. Whatever will make a man go and join his political enemy just to stay relevant is better for that person to not do it. Because what...
Nothing good will come out of it.
Nothing. In fact, Shekarau is a lot worse now. All his people that Kwankwaso promised positions here and there, no one has had any position considered to him. The promises that he made, oh, we are going to give you 35%, not even 5% is coming. So how do you describe that? How do you describe that? There's an old friend of mine, a captain in Kano. He said, Jide, you said it that these people can't work together. Can you see now? Because people will feel that, oh, now they are on the same, they can work together. But the hands has shown now that they can't work together.
What will be the gain of Kwankwaso by losing somebody like Shekarau 6 months before the election?
Well, the question that we should ask is, where does the NNPC, where is NNPP going? Where is the party going? How widespread is the party? It's restricted to one particular corner of the north. Although they say they have some candidates in the southwest here, but they hardly ever had, over here. But that notwithstanding, the issue is Shekarau, Kwankwaso, could they work together? There was no way they could have worked together. And you have to understand that politics is about interest. And most politicians will go to where their interest is best served. If your interest is not served in a place, they won't stay there. It's always been like that. It's not about altruistic motive that, you want to go and serve the people. It's about the personal interest. Kwankwaso he knows where he's going. Shekarau knows what he wants.
He does not want to empower Shekarau. That's just the motive.
If that's not
why did you call him? Why did you invite him?
Well, maybe he wanted to destroy him by knowing that he had ulterior motive, and then he brought him. Because what is the point? All the people went with him. The governor, Senator Shekarau has not been able to find anything for them. People back politicians knowing that if he gets something, me too, I will get something. People go with when they are joining a party, they go with the multitude of their supporters, and they sign and they do deals to also make their supporters happy. People went with him to that party. They got nothing. It's only Senator Shekarau that got something. You are now saying, oh, it's too late. We could not give them a ticket. Even those tickets you've not won. Yes, you are reluctant to even give to these people. No meeting, nothing. And the painful thing for me is Senator Shekarau, Obi contacted him with the desire of making him his vice presidential candidate. Shekarau said, no need. I've already made up my mind. Atiku had been begging him repeatedly, come to our party, come back. He didn't listen to Atiku. But right now, it is to that Atiku that is going to end up.
So what is the implication? What's going to be the implication now? Now we have Shekarau in PDP, we have Governor Ganduje there, and we have NNPP. Are they going to just divide that Kano into four?
It's inevitable. It's inevitable. It's inevitable that that will happen. These people, they are better in separate parties. We've been talking about this thing for long. They are all better as forming the Kano political tripod. They are better. To have two of them in the same party will not work.
To explode.
It will not work.
To include.
It will not work. When you have... Shekara was complaining that he was frozen out. They didn't share this thing with him even in the APC. And you left. But what has he gained in the NPP now? Kwankwaso is a cold, mean politician. He has succeeded in wasting Senator Shekarau's time. Senator Shekarau
that they would have gotten
is a good man.
Some nomination.
Now he's left him.
INEC window.
He has left him in the lodge now. Where do his supporters go?
And as a compensation,
where are the tickets for them?
How will he motivate his supporters?
When
everything, all the windows.
Where do they go?
I think the way politicians they calculate, some can be, as I said, very mean.
You see, that's why I say it's about interest. And you won't put someone that is likely to upstage you or to put you in problem.
Become more powerful than you.
You won't put him. There's no way they could have worked together, for God's sake, because they are both power blocks in Kano State. But right now, as it is, Shekara is in a lodge, as he said. Where is he going to? They are not going to substitute, even the substitution that's going to take place. Although, well, for some positions, they are still available.
Maybe when we speak with Sule.
Maybe.
Okay, I don't know, maybe Sule is with us.
Dr. Sule.
Dr. Sule, Yao Sule, our longtime friend. Not yet. We are expecting him to join us. He's the media aide to Senator Ibrahim Shekarau, so that we know the next move, because it's getting so interesting. 2015 in Kano, all election cycle, every 4 years is always interesting in Kano.
Always interesting.
Whatever will happen in Kano, we go a long way to decide who is going to be the president of Nigeria.
Yes.
It's almost impossible for you if you win the Kano and some other
politically
states.
It's the most critical states in Nigeria.
It is.
You know? The capacity of the Senator Shekarau, the votes that he got as a senator was not matched by any other senator.
To show his popularity.
He's the one representing Kano Municipal. That's where the population is. The heart of Kano. Kano City alone has 10 local governments. And Shekarau is the lawmaker representing the heart of Kano. So you can imagine why he had that quantum of votes, unmatched by anyone.
No, it was said to be in talks with Asiwaju Bola Tinubu at a point in time in this thing. I don't know.
You see, the thing is, see, even if he does not have issues with Asiwaju. Asiwaju tried to stop him from going to PDP. Asiwaju had a meeting with him. He sent his private jet to bring him from Kano. And they had that meeting on one hilltop hotel in Abuja, in the Asokoro area. And he tried to beg him not to leave the party. But he felt he could no longer work with Governor
Abdullahi Gandhi.
And even now, if Asiwaju will speak to him, he knows that he will still end up in APC Kano. All politics is local. No matter what, he may have his own this thing with Asiwaju, but he will still end up in Kano.
It's just like what's happening to Magnus Abe.
He will still end up in Kano.
And Magnus Abe wants to work for Asiwaju in the presidential election, but he doesn't want to end up in
the
APC.
It's a problem. So that has to be addressed. What do you do?
But you same thing in most of the states. Even in your state there, some people are interested in working for Asiwaju for the presidential election, but for the governorship, they
will work against their party.
Exactly.
Yes. Even PDP. Yeah. I know some states that I will not mention here in the north and some other places where they will work against the choice of their own party and go and work for Asiwaju in a rival party.
That's because of the presidential election is 2 weeks. Governorship election is 2 weeks after the presidential election.
It helps that they are not doing it the same day.
Yes.
So they can easily direct
the
voter.
realign.
Okay, this is where you go.
Yes.
And then some of them have had good relationship with the man over time. And it's difficult for political differences to now separate them. Long-term friends.
Yeah.
You know, so that is the thing. right now, Atiku is going to cut short his visit to the UK to receive Kwankwaso, to receive Shekarau into
it's a major
PDP.
boost for him.
Yes, he will receive him into the PDP. That's his best now. Nowhere else. Nowhere else that he can go. This man has simply wasted his time. In a very cold and mean manner. We see, politics to some people is just a zero-sum game. And it shouldn't be a zero-sum game. Politics should be something that we're excited to play. But where people think, no, this guy, I must crush him. It must be me. Honestly, it's Kwankwaso alone that can explain why he treated.
And don't forget, the rivalry is not today.
No, that's why we said it can't work. In the past, because of one person, the other person moved to another camp. It happened now in the past between these two people.
Kwankwaso was the governor between 1999 to 2003, and Shekarau took over from him, Abi?
Shekarau took over. He did one term.
Yes.
Shekarau defeated him. But the hatred had been there even before he defeated Kwankwaso for the 2003 election. The hatred had been there.
My producer have been trying to get Dr. Sule Yasule. I think maybe by Tuesday when we'll be able to elaborate on it.
I know that he's really also working hard. He's working hard on how they are going to organize a reception, and it's at the heart of it. It's at the heart of it. The presidential candidate of the PDP is coming into town to receive him, and he is like the person ensuring that this whole thing works. So I'm not surprised that we are struggling. Maybe it's too busy or they are having meetings here and there, but it's a lesson. I'm personally pained that it ended up this way. Because this former governor, Shekarau, is a good man. When you meet Shekarau one-on-one, he's a very nice man. People should, and he's one of the most incorruptible that you can find. I say this because I know it. Government had to build a house for Shekarau when he was leaving office. Because he didn't have a house of his own that he could stay. That was befitting a former governor.
Yeah, they had to build extremely popular in Kano.
Yeah,
it's still popular.
Still very popular.
Wherever he goes, is guaranteed of
delivering votes.
Yes.
And that's why it's going to be very dicey.
So this is like a boost for the People's Democratic Party.
Oh, it is, because 2023 is going to be dicey. There are three major power blocks there. There's Governor Ganduje of the APC,
NNPP,
Kwankwaso, and then there's Shekarau going to PDP. How is it going to be? And Kano has always been a very massive voting pattern from Kano, And so how is it going to be? That means they are going to divide. That means they are going to divide Kano into three.
So we can't have the bulk, the large chunk of votes that used to come for the Super Tanga
not for any political party.
2015 and 2019. I remember that 2015.
Over 1 million.
1.9 million just came as nobody recovered from it.
Nobody.
No, don't also forget that 2015, even many Northerners from the PDP were prepared to vote for Buhari.
Yeah.
They were prepared. Even some PDP members, strong PDP members, will line up on the queue and see their children lining up, their own children lining up beside them behind a rival party.
Yeah.
So it was that the North at that time badly wanted change, and they wanted Buhari.
Yeah.
So that the quantum of vote that we got at that time going to one individual. Don't forget, it's not on the ballot this time.
It's not.
It cannot. It can't happen from Kano in 2023. Yeah. So they are going to split those votes.
And the bigger picture now for NNPP, what would that be the end game? NNPP came to the south to choose a pastor Reverend Idausa, Pastor Idausa as his deputy. And at the end of the day, a lot of people will say, look, that the party might not be strong enough to confront the big two.
No, it's not strong enough.
No, maybe it's a party of the future.
Even in the Northwest, you see people moving towards PDP. You see more people moving towards PDP than moving to... Maybe in Kano and Jigawa, they can do well, but they don't have the structures in the other states of the Northwest, apart from Kano and Jigawa. They don't have...
That's just like one state
I was in Katsina and I asked questions. I went out, I asked questions. It is between PDP and APC.
I saw those that decamped in Katsina yesterday. Senator Damake. Some people decamped from APC to PDP yesterday.
No, it's a tough one. In
Massive.
Katsina. It's really tough in Katsina.
Massive. I saw the crowd.
The party, the APC, has got to watch it in Katsina. They've got to watch it in Katsina. You can see that even during my interview with Governor Masari, I mentioned it, but he dismissed it as nothing serious. But they've got to watch it in that state. And I know that the candidate is not relenting because the vice presidential candidate, Kashim Shettima, came to Katsina to see the former Secretary of Government. He's still in.
Dr. Inua Mustafa.
Yes, no matter how bad he feels, he's still within the APC. He's still in APC. And what Kashim Shettima has come to do is to give him reassurances to ensure that they don't lose his support.
They don't have to lose Dr. Inua Mustafa. It's big assets.
Yes. No, I'm sure he's not going to leave
big
the
assets.
I'm sure it's not.
And what was NNPP like in Oyo State?
I don't know whether there's any party called NNPP
in the South generally.
In the South, yes, I know that they have some candidates in some states in the South, but in fact, it's just like a Labour Party. The multitude that they have candidates, but where are these candidates? Where is the structure that will propel their ambition? It's not there.
The structure is indispensable.
Yes, if you don't have a structure, you are not going anywhere.
Politics. It doesn't work within months. It takes time.
It takes time. And you spend a lot of time, energy, and money too, because you have to put those who are represented in this local government, in this world, and all those things. It just goes down like that. You don't have them, because these are the people that will push out people on election day. Go and vote, mobilize people. If you don't have them, they are not going anywhere.
All right. We'll take this break. When we come back on the final segment, we'll talk sports and celebrating mathematical Segun Odegbami at 70. Don't want to miss it.
Music is fuel that fires up our souls. Today, African music has a dominant place on the world map. This massive music movement creating waves across the globe.
I have seen the evolution and the growth of this industry.
But every movement starts with a story. And the best place to start any story is at the very beginning.
There's a primordial energy that can only have come from Africa.
This Sunday, she has lived all her life in the United Kingdom. 14-year-old Oluwashikemi Ajibade's parents sent her on vacation to Lagos, where she was enrolled into a school for a term.
If they're in school and they don't have food to eat, but I have like money on me or food to share, I would happily share it with them.
With the 4 months over, the Briton has become a better person with new talents and skills.
I love going to church, I love being in the choir, I love gospel music as well.
Oluwashikemi Ajibade tells her story of talent discovery in Nigeria to Ola Wakon. That's on Sunday Specials, where great stories live.
Welcome back. You can be regarded as Nigeria, as the Pele in Nigeria. He's just the de facto sport icon in Nigeria, but also a serial entrepreneur, great writer, broadcaster, author, actor, publisher, and sports administrator par excellence. Patrick Olusegun Odegbami, member of the Order of Niger, MON, mathematical, as he is fondly called by soccer fans, is 70. In 1980, Africa Cup of Nations winner deserves to be celebrated for reaching the milestone and for his contribution to national development. Let's share his exploits at the 1980 AFCON final with you first.
Amesimaka. That's Odegbami, and it's in the net. It is a goal. Shegun got it. Can we take a look at that goal again? This is glorious.
Takes a very good chip, waiting for a mistake, and a good one. Shegun Odegbami, and he puts it in there again. It is a goal. Shegun's second goal.
Break as Nigeria took control and wrapped it up in the second half against a dispirited Algerian side with number 3. Rebound off the keeper, Laval, 5 minutes after the restart, and it's Nigeria 3, Algeria 0.
So, Adoke Amesimaka, Aloysius, and Okeisima, and he's still going on. That's good squaring, a header, and it's almost got no. That was a chance, but I forgot. Oh no, Adoke.
That's Christian Chukwu. Nkana. David Adele. Nkana. This is Africa Cup final, and Nigerians are having a really satisfying moment. Aloysius. Shegun. No, that's David. Beautiful play there by Muda. He just can't easy. Muda is still going. Ooh. He got a corner kick for it anyway. Well, that is the long blast of the whistle to formally end the 12th African Cup of Nations. The main bowl. This has been the most successful match Nigeria has played in all this series. Yes, that's it. That is the president of the nation shaking the rattler. It's a really hysterical moment out there at the National Stadium.
The president, well done. You've done a good job, lad. And that's the gold medal. On to, and Chukwu takes the chance for the president. Dele, let's share this together.
Well, I was getting really taking in my what you were saying there, and I think it's the best description for the Shegun Odegbami. He had a scintillating performance out here this afternoon. It is a really crowning effort to the performance of this fellow. And now the most charismatic of them all, Felix Owolabi, he went out there. I really love that boy. That's Adoke Amesimaka, who I'm happy played himself back into this game. Now the consolation. No, this is the trophy for, and the Fair Play Cup was won by Nigeria. Now the giant one.
1980 Cup of Nations final, late President Shehu Shagari, with those great guys, the team of 1980, and the mathematical Shegun Odegbami is 80. He must bow. What was the first match of Odegbami that you watched and the impression you had about him?
I started following Shegun Odegbami in 1976 when Shooting Stars won the first Continental Club Cup for Nigeria. And I remember his first match I watched was against Egypt in 1977 when we beat Egypt in Lagos 4-0 and he scored 2 goals. And since that time, I have never seen a better header of the ball, a better winger, and a better striker in Nigeria football.
Jide, now let's talk about his glorious, headed goals. Now, for the national team, do you agree that it's like the greatest header of the ball in that Super Eagles?
Well, let me talk about my first encounter.
Okay.
I saw Segun Odegwami play for the first time in 1976, but it was an African Cup Winners' Cup match against Stade of Afrique Coast. Shooting Stars won 2-0. Both goals by Segun Odegwami. That was the first time that I saw him. You know, it was NTA Ibadan that we were always watching. At that time. And they had an excellent sports unit that was going everywhere to watch games involving IICC Shooting Stars, you know, that Segun Odegwami played for. And it was Shooting Stars that made him famous. Remember that even the great juju artist, Ebenezer Obey, even waxed an album for him. I mean, for him, I know that. I mean, after that triumph, Shooting Stars was the first Nigerian team to win a continental trophy. And Odegwami was in the thick of action. You know, Odegwami played as a right winger for Nigeria, but for Shooting Stars, most of his games were as central striker. So he was their main target man, and he got a lot of goals. So 1976 was when I saw him play for the first time, but after that, I began to watch Eagles games, and I was seeing him in those games. So talking about his headed goals, frankly, I've not seen a Nigerian who can score with his head like Segun Odegwami. People talk about Motiu Adepoju. I don't think Motiu himself will argue that Segun Odegwami was the greatest Nigerian header of the ball in modern soccer. I don't think even Motiu will argue that. You know, but if people did not see, if people did not see those games, a lot of our people, our young people, did not see. It's just like the other day, somebody was comparing LeBron James to Michael Jordan. That's the person that he has seen play basketball.
Yes.
But Jordan, there would never be another Jordan.
Yes.
Jordan was described as God in basketball shoes. The greatest man to ever do a sport.
To them as Indomie noodle generation.
The greatest man to ever do a sport. So now they didn't limit him to basketball. They describe him as the greatest man that ever played a sport. That's how good he was. The Air Jordan, the man who defied
gravity.
Gravity. So people who did not watch him play will point to someone else. So that's the way it is. I've seen some great headed goals by Segun Odegwami, even in this Nations Cup, in the first match against Tanzania.
The third goal.
Yes, there was that headed goal. He rose like a bird into the air and scored with that fantastic header. And I'm sure that Musbau too has seen some headed goals.
Of course. Even the Motiu Adepoju we are talking about fashioned his game after Segun Odegwami as a great header of the ball. So there is no comparison at all in terms of good headed goals. Motiu is good, but Odegwami is the greatest. in Nigeria.
Do you think the like of Odegbami just came too early?
Yes, that is my impression. I remember in 1976, Shooting Stars coach was a Briton, Alan Hawks, and they won the 1976 Winners' Cup. The man said, Odegbami, Muda, and others, about 3 others, I'm taking you to Europe, come and play professional football. They declined. And in 1984...
They declined?
Yes, they declined. They said they are okay with Nigeria. In 1984, when Shooting Stars Club qualified for Champions Cup final again, the man was in Nigeria. Said, you, these people, you are saying Nigeria are here. Where your mates are making money in Europe. That is the kind. I believe Odegbami, the likes of Odegbami, Adoke, Amesimaka, late Mudalawal were well ahead of their time. I believe so.
Did they?
They were just too good.
Yes. People saw Roger Miller in the World Cup and they kept asking themselves that if Odegbami had been in this World Cup, he would have been very successful. But the truth is, at that time, it was not the fad to go abroad. Don't forget, our economy was very strong. Our currency was stronger than
dollar.
The dollar.
Yes,
so
dollar.
What is the motivation? For a lot of our players who are going abroad now, the motivation is the money more than anything, so that they can save for the rainy day, you know, because they know that after many years, people will forget about them. Even government will not remember them when they have problems and all that. So the motivation was not there, and it was not even the fad to go abroad and to ply your trade. And even when we were bringing players from abroad, our home-based players were better.
Yes.
You cannot tell me.
It took a long time till the likes of Stevie Keshi.
No, I'm even talking before that time. I said when we were bringing players from abroad, when we were bringing people like John Chidozie
and
Tunji Banjo, neither of them was as good as Odegbami.
Yes.
Odegbami played against the Tunisians in that World Cup qualifier. You know, we lost the first leg 2-0. Then the second leg, we knew we had to pay them back in their own coins and then qualify. Odegbami's right thigh was strapped, heavily strapped. Yet the coach said even an unfit Odegbami
should play.
Must play.
And
because by putting Odegbami on the feet, you are going to distract 2 defenders. Because every time he touches the ball, 2 players must go to him. Because he was our master dribbler. And very physical, and he could run. So it's the nightmare for any defender. So even with his heavily strapped right thigh, he played that game. I think he played full time. Yes.
He played full time and scored his penalty.
Yes, that was the penalty that he stopped before playing it.
He never went to the World Cup.
Yeah.
You know, as in that is like his greatest regret.
The nearest he came was in that ill-fated match against Tunisia in Lagos when Godwin Odiye scored against Nigeria. It was
Godwin
Odiye scored against Nigeria.
Home goal.
Yes. Tunisia beat us 1-0 in Lagos when we were expected to win after we had played goalless draw in Tunis. So, and that was the end. And he tried again in 1980 and 1981, towards 1982. We lost at the final stage to Algeria. Algeria beat us in Lagos and beat us in Algiers. And that was
his last game.
Really?
Yes.
That was his last game for
That was his last game for Nigeria. So
I remember he even hit the post.
Yes.
That day, that second leg.
Yes. It was a distraction. Christian Shuku had retired. Nigeria, a new team comprising of the likes of Stephen Keshi, Franklin, or Christian Shuku. And by the time we faced the Algerians in Lagos, they beat us 2-0.
Because he could not cope with the pace.
With the pace.
Of Rabamaja,
Lagda Bellumi, Assad Salah, all these people.
I don't forget. Cope with the space. By the time they removed him and brought in Keshi, they could not score again.
Not score again.
But we
were already 2-0 down.
We lost that match in the first leg.
Yes.
Okay, let's talk about.
We shouldn't have
brought him back.
Because somebody was not fit. He had decided to leave the national team. Put your faith in the younger players. It's as simple as that. And we played very well in the second leg. Yeah. We played very well. I remember they were even hit the post in that match. And John Chidozie too played very well. You know. So, but in the end,
he's a man of many parts. You know, in other areas, he's also outstanding.
Yes, there are very few Nigerians who can write better than Segun Odegwami. I say that as an editor of almost 30 years standing. There are very few Nigerians. In fact, Segun Adenoga would describe him as grammatical Odegwami because of his excellent use of the English language. He showed that beyond football, he could excel in other areas. You know, even when it comes to management of sports people outside of football, Odegwami also excelled.
Don't forget that he's the one that discovered Rashidi Yekini with Onigbinde.
Okay, yes. Actually, he was playing for
UNCL of Kaduna. And they were rebuilding Shooting Stars then. So they went to Kaduna, and that was how Rashidi Yekini was discovered.
You know? So, but Onigbinde brought back
Odegwami from retirement in 1984.
And he played for
Shooting Stars.
And he played well.
And they qualified for they reached the final of the Champions League that year, 1982 against Zamalek.
Champions Cup, yeah.
And it was, apart from Rashidi Yekini, I think he was the second highest goal scorer.
Yeah, second highest scorer.
Even up to today, you see the second highest goal scorer for Nigeria with 26 goals in just 47 matches for Nigeria. Yes.
26 goals.
26 goals. For a long time, he was Nigeria's highest goal scorer. For the national
and
team.
A lot of people have played more games and didn't score up to that.
So tell us about.
We are still talking about him as a man of many parts. As a broadcaster, Odegwami excelled. I think with that Milo World of Sports,
Saturday Sports Specials,
he created segments, he discovered talents. Even Funmi Yonda, many of us see Funmi Yonda today as a brilliant broadcaster. It was Segun that discovered Funmi Yonda and put her on TV for the first time in her life. So don't also forget, when it comes to even managing athletes, look at this girl,
Choma
Ajunwa. It was Odegwami, under Odegwami's management, that Choma Ajunwa went to the World Cup, you know, and won, World Cup, Olympics, and won the long jump gold for Nigeria. He was the one who managed her. Like you have artist manager in music. So many things that he could do. I just think that my country could have used this man a lot better because God gave us a man who had so much talent. But every time he tried to serve his country,
he never rose to become the NFF chairman.
Yes,
they will frustrate him.
Yes, because once you are the type of person who speaks the truth, our nation, they won't like you. They won't like you. They don't like people who speak the truth and who are sure of themselves. Odegwami is eminently sure of himself because what is it that you are going to say? I said, have you read some articles that Odegwami wrote? On sports, the grace of language.
Today, is he writing for Complete Sports?
There are few people who can write better than him. Even people with better education than him can write like him.
Don't forget he's a science student too. He had OND, HND in civil engineering and electrical engineering.
Someone was asking me whether he decided to go to school after his play career. I said, no, he was playing and he was going to school.
Let me give you the story of 1975 Challenge Cup final. Odegwami has a final paper at Polytechnic Ibadan. and the supporters, the management, they waited, and Shooting Stars was playing Rangers in the final in Lagos. They waited at the window until he finished his paper. When he finished his paper, they brought him back to Lagos to come and play that match. That was how great the guy is and how they so believe in his talent. Shooting Stars lost that match, but at least he played and he gave a good account of himself.
But then when we were talking about the most difficult match that Odegbami ever played, sometimes it's better to ask the player himself. But I still remember that match in Kaduna.
Against Rangers?
Against Rangers. I was a Rangers supporter as a kid.
Okay.
And whenever Rangers lost, I would cry and cry. So meeting Shooting Stars in that semi-final game, I was already worried about what will happen. But this Rangers defender, Nnamdi Anyafu, didn't give Odegbami any breathing space. Before he touched the ball, he got there. He didn't give him first touch. He marked him. He gave him no breather at all. In the end, the match was decided by penalties. And people say that match was the reason we didn't qualify for the World Cup.
Yeah.
Because of the disagreement, the bad blood generated by that match. You know, Shooting Stars were the first to win the Cup Winners' Cup. And then the following year, they and Rangers had to play the tournament. They, as defending champions, Rangers, the second Nigerian team. By the time
they won the league, Shooting won the league, are supposed to go for Champions Cup.
Yes.
But they said
they prefer to defend their
title.
So the match was an ill-tempered match. But in the end, it was decided by penalties, and it was Rangers that won.
I want us to talk about that great class of 1980.
Oh.
The outstanding players there.
Of course, Christian Shuku was the captain, and he was named in player of the tournament. And we have people like Oke Sima, Silvano Sokpala, Tunde Bamidele, John Orlando, Emmanuel Okala. Best Ogedebe was in goal. Aduke Amesimaka, Erin Wosu, still a student then. Godwin Odiye, Sheffield Mohammed was also in that team. Martins, Charles Bassi. Moses Effiong, I think he was the third choice goalkeeper.
Even Odiye
came all the way from US to play. Kadiri Ikana, they were in that team. Very compact and good team. They play good football and they won. The only match we drew was against Ivory Coast, second match, group match, 0-0 in Lagos.
Remember that.
The others. We only consider one goal. Yes. That one goal we consider the first match against Tanzania. That was, and Muda Lawal created record in that tournament. The first player to score the opening goal and the last goal in the Nations Cup tournament. That was Muda Lawal.
Muda Lawal.
We beat Morocco 1-0.
1-0. We beat.
They scored in the 9th minute, but they could not reply.
They could not reply.
9th minute, they could not reply. And that particular match, it was Olabi that scored.
That scored.
Powerful left footer from outside the team.
Yes.
But we were just, many people didn't expect us to win the tournament.
To win the tournament, yes.
We were hosting, and the support was tremendous, and Nigeria went on to win. When you watch Nigeria versus Egypt World Cup qualifier here in Lagos, which we won by, I think, 4-0.
4-0. That was my first match.
You will know how good Segun Odegbami is.
That was my first time of watching Odegbami.
You know how good Segun Odegbami is. It's unfortunate that we are not a nation that keeps records. If you watch, you know some people, when you talk about ball control, you need to see Muda Lawal control the ball. You won't talk about Kocha and other people.
Really?
Yes. Yes.
Oh, God. No matter how high the ball is, his first choice is immaculate.
That my generation, I'm thinking that JJ.
We know, you see, we didn't, and at that time, or you see an Haruna Ilerika.
Dribble.
People will say Haruna Ilerika. When you see an Haruna Ilerika dribble, you will never believe that there's a better dribbler in world football. They were that good. Raw talent, you know, God just blessed us with this kind of people. You know, and I'm happy that in Nigeria that is difficult.
Joining us for more discussion on this is veteran sport journalist and president of the International Sports Press Association, AIPS Africa, Mitchell Obi. Thank you for joining us. We've been having network issues trying to get you.
Oh, God.
Mitchell, can you tell us about mathematical Segun Odegbami? He's 70.
Yes, thank you. I hope the network will be good this Sunday, and I'm glad to join you guys to celebrate a Nigerian legend, the one which my good colleague aptly described as grammatical Odegbami. Indeed, when it comes to journalism, he's in the forefront of sports journalism. I handled his first scripts when he became a columnist with The Guardian, and that was far back in 1984. Those were the great days of the flagship sports with Tony Ojebase, myself, Trikwe Egegi, Ikedi Ziguzo, and Odegbami will write, and I will come to his hotel room in Ibadan to pick the scripts. That's how he started the business of sports writing, and he had some unforgettable articles. I still remember the one about Jasinho. You know, it was a corruption of a Yoruba phrase, and it had to do with players who had to go out, drink, get drunk, and almost slept in the gutter. But then Odegbami is a man of many parts, and he has been relevant in how many generations? From the 70s to the 80s to the 90s, and even beyond. He's still thinking. His creative instincts have not stopped, and we celebrate him. Interestingly, he doesn't even play football anymore. But if you come to the tennis court, you'll see another Odegbami.
The tennis courts?
Mitchell, is he there?
Mitchell, are you there?
Yes, I wanted to ask you his first match that you covered.
Yes.
Can you tell us his first match that you covered as a reporter?
As a reporter, my first match was in. It was in. Can I remember now? That was in Togo, as Fosa of Togo and New Nigerian Bank of Benin. That was a Waffle Cup game.
No, I mean Segun Odegbami's game.
Okay, Segun Odegbami's game. That was Shooting Stars. The game in Yaoundé was the most telling of all. When he had to kick the last penalty, he was holding his knees, he was bandaging it, he was going for that last kick, and we said, if we didn't get this kick right, Shooting Stars, who had scored 4 goals in the first leg, will miss the final of the Champions League. And he got it, and we were so anxious and so disturbed that even in victory, we didn't have the energy to celebrate because Tonnerre cancelled 4 goals. That was one of the moments I can't forget when you talk about Shooting Stars and Odegbami.
It's always a privilege anytime I have to talk with the masters.
Yes.
Mitchell Obi, thank you so much. I get inspired anytime I see
it's so painful that we couldn't get to.
Oh, it's so unfortunate. Network. We couldn't get you on time. Mitchell Obi, veteran sports journalist, editor.
The sports pro stylist.
Oh, no. Well, and Musba, thank you. Anytime we think about Chego, what do we share from Uncle Segun Odegbami?
You know one thing, there is a particular story that Mitchell Obi covered for the Flying Eagles. Flying Eagles versus Cameroon, Lion Sox of Cameroon. They beat us 3-0. The way he started the write-up, the first paragraph, I memorized it. So when he came here, I started relaying what I had memorized since 1984. And he told me he still had that copy of the paper.
That's Michel Omonodi, I remember.
Fantastic writers.
Something we see, people should know about Odegbami. Odegbami is the only Nigerian player that made the African team of the century.
Musa Razak, thank you. And the maestro himself.
Thank you so much.
It's Sunday special.
May God give him more years.
Yes. Join us tomorrow for our regular episode of Journalist Hangout at 5 p.m. You can watch the repeat broadcast tonight at 11:30 p.m. We're on YouTube, youtube.com/TVC News Nigeria. See you tomorrow, and God bless Nigeria.
There is always more to a story than the screaming headline. The part of a story that is not told casts a shadow. It's like the part of an object that is not reached by light. On TVC News, I'm able to explore the many angles there are to a story, talking to stakeholders, asking the difficult questions, and digging for facts. I believe the viewers are able to make a better decision if they're well informed and understand not just a part, but the complete story. TVC News, first with breaking news.
At TVC News, wherever the big news story is happening, we're geared up to break it. TVC News, first with breaking news.
Hello and welcome to Pesita Updates. I am Olutayo Ogunade, and today's episode of, let me just quickly paint a picture of the program. This is where we talk about the giant strides and the activities and exploits of the Oyo State government, ably led by Engineer Seyi Makinde. This is how it's turning the state around and redefining excellence and bringing good governance to the doorstep of the people of Oyo State. On today's episode, we'll be looking at a critical sector of government in Oyo State. So now, civil servants are the key drivers of the image and the operations of government of any state. And of course, they will be forming the focus of the conversation on the program today. Joining me on Pesita Updates today is the Honorable Commissioner for Establishment and Training, Alhaji Shiju Lawal. It's good to have you join me on the program.
Well, I want to thank you sincerely for inviting me.
Fantastic. You had a very critical ministry in your state, and this is where, the focus is, because like I defined earlier, they drive the image and the operations of government of any state. Tell us about the experience since you joined the ministry. What has been? Tell us about what you met on ground, what it was before 2019, and what you've been able to achieve so far.
Well, thank you very sincerely. First and foremost, let me say I hold the Ministry of Establishment and Training. Ministry of Establishment is a core human resource management that deals directly with staff welfare, staff promotion, pensions, gratuity, training, and the likes. We want to thank God for the life of His Excellency, the Executive Governor of Oyo State. By the time he came on board on May 29, 2019, there were a lot of challenges he met on ground. Sincerely yours, staff welfare, the staff morale, so to say, was tragically at its lowest ebb as at the time he came on board. He met various challenges facing the workers generally. Factually, everything that has to do with staff welfare were embargoed. For instance, you talk of establishment matter that has to do with promotions. Promotion of staff were in arrears as a result of embargo placed on that. Staff training, embargoed. Staff recruitment, embargo, staff conversion, embargo, staff advancement, embargo, payment of gratuity to retired workers, embargo. Monthly payment of pensions that's supposed to be on regular basis was